إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفر ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Alhamdulillah, we're here today dealing with a tawqeed or a ta'qeed. A tawqeed or a ta'qeed. Say that?
Tawqeed or
a ta'qeed. It's either one. Let's say a tawqeed. A tawqeed. The next one would be a ta'qeed. Both of them mean the same thing. Akkada. Okay? Both of them will mean the same thing. A tawqeed and a ta'qeed. They both mean the same thing. It's from the word akkada. Okay? Akkada. Or wakkada. Okay? So which it means to strengthen. Taqwiyah. What does it mean? Taqwiyah. Taqwiyah. Okay? Which means to strengthen something. That's what it means literally. As a terminology, it is to remove any doubt about what you were referring to. To remove any doubt about that thing you were referring to. Okay? So, like if you had any doubt that Hajar was in the room, you can remove it. Bit ta'qeed. She's here. So, that's the first thing we want to understand. The next thing we want to go through here is the poem, the Ajrumiyah, Ajrumiyah, and the poem. We go here, وَيَتْبَعُ الموكد توكيد في ويتبع الموكد توكيد في رفع ونصب ثم خفض فاعرفي ويتبع المؤكد التوكيد في رفع ونصب ثم خفض فاعرفي. Okay, what this means is, what is and? Yatba'u, it follows, because this is al-muwakkid, is one of the tawabi', they follow the marfu'u and follow it in its way, just like we have the badal, and we have the different things that we did so far, about that, the ta'rif wa tankir, these things follow its way. And the atf wa not, like those things. So this is one of tawabi', number one. It follows the ta'rif and the tankir of a particular word. And the marfu. Muwakkadu is the thing that's being made emphasis, and clarity on it. The word. It's a word, dealing with a word. Okay? A tawheed, these are specific words that we call the words of a huruf al-tawqeed or huruf al-ta'qeed. And we know that a word are three types. There are how many types of words?
Three types.
Three types of words. There's an ismun, there's a fi'lun, and there's a harf. So, here when we're referring to, we're not talking about an ismun, we're not talking about a fi'lun, we're talking about a harf. A harf is a word that has a meaning, points to a meaning in another word, and it's not connected to a zaman, time frame. Okay, so a harf is a kalimatun dallat ala ma'na fi ghayriha wa lam taqtaran bizaman. It's a word that points to a meaning in another word and it's not tied to a time frame. So these are specific words and these are huruf. We call them harf, huruf al-ta'qeed. So yatba'u al-muwakkadu al-tawqeed fi. So the thing that's being emphasized, these ta'qeed words follow it in what? In its raf'un, when it's nafsbun, when it's khafdun. So whenever a word, and when it's jazmun also, okay? When a word is followed, when a word is being followed by a mu'akkid, then you find it in these three terms. Raf'un means dhamma, or what comes into place. Nasbun is fatha, or what comes into place. Khaftun is kasra, or what comes in its place. So that's what this means. And ثم خفت فعرفي. فعرفي just means so recognize and understand that. And it's just to emphasize, again, the rest of the line so it would rhyme together. Okay? It also would be in its ta'rif, meaning if it has alif or lam or not. But let's get on to the rest of the poem where to explain that. Okay? ويتبع المؤكد التوكيد في رفع ونصب ثم خفض فاعرفي كذاك في تعريفي فقف الأثر كذاك
كذاك
نعم كذاك في تعريفي فقف الأثر فقف الأثر أثر should be like that. And it says وهذه ألفاظه excuse me ألفاظه كما ترى. Okay. Now it says كذاك. Say كذاك. كذاك في التعريف فقف الأثر. فقف الأثر. What it means here is this. Likewise in its ta'rif. We said ويتبع المؤكد التعريف في توكيد في رفع ونصب ثم خفض فاعرفي. It says كذاك في التعريف. So really that line would have stopped right here. Meaning that it follows it in the raf'un, it follows it in the nasbun, it follows it in the khafdun, and likewise كذاك and also in the ta'rif. When we mention ta'rif, what we mean here is alif wal lam. Okay? For the most part. What is easy for a beginner to understand, that ta'rif is alif wal lam, or mudaf ilay. There's a bunch of things, but really we just want you to understand when a word is alif wal lam. We went over ta'rif before, al-ma'rifah, in the chapter of ma'rifah, so you go back and review what an exactness of that is. Okay? So, faqful athara means, faqfu means take the path of those that followed you, and athara is their impressions, or again, what's informing you. And faqfu is you follow, means in order to follow certain way. And it's just to complete the line. Faqful athara. Take what was left there for you to see, basically. And then it says, وَهَذِهِ أَلْفَاظُهُ كَمَا تَرَى. And these are its letters, its words. The letters or words of tawqid. كما ترى, just like what you see right here. And it's going to mention some of them, not all of them. It's going to mention some of them. You know, some people say there are 7, but actually there's more than that. So we're going to mention it right now, what they are. Let me just erase this. كذاك في التعريف فقف الأثر وهذه ألفاظه كما ترى النفس والعين وأجمعوا. Hold on, let me put it on the board for you guys so we can see it. This is a pretty easy lesson. Really, what you have to know here is you've already known, is that what does tawqid do? Tawqid or ta'kid strengthens the words that came before it, or the understanding that came before it, so you have no doubt about what was being implied. Whatever was being said, they want to make sure it emphasizes that emphasis. That's what we're dealing with. So what are the letters? What are the words of ta'kid? There are a few. In the poem he mentions 3, but we're gonna go and learn a few more. It says an-nafsu, say it. An-nafsu والعين النفس والعين وكل أجمع النفس والعين وكل أجمع وكل النفس والعين وكل أجمع. And we stop at أجمع right there. This is the first thing that is real easy to know, because under these are all the other words of ta'kid. Say, النفس والعين وكل أجمع. Say it. النفس والعين وكل أجمع. Let's go through this. النفس. النفس is from the word al and the word plus nafs. Nafs literally means soul or self. Self. Okay? Here, or the self. Here it doesn't mean that at all. As a terminology, it means literally himself or itself, whatever you mention. Ayn means the eye. Al plus ayn. And it means the eye. You know what I'm saying? Okay? Ayn say is like saying nafsu shay. Okay? So here, both of these words mean himself or itself. Okay? Itself. We'll get to that in a moment, how it's done. Then it says, wa kullun. Kullun means all of them. Now, these two deal with the one that's being spoken to in the singular for the most part, even though they can be plural. Here, kullun and ajma'u, they deal with a portion of a bigger group, or to include the whole group. Okay, to make no doubt about what's being said there. So, but with kullun, you have words like this. Kilahuma, kila, meaning kullan, right? Kullan, which would mean the two, both of them. This would mean both of them. And kilta, say kilta.
Kilta.
That means both of them also, but both of them that are females, okay? This is feminine. Killan or kullan. No, actually, it's not. Killan, killa, kilahuma, And kilta, this is masculine. And this is feminine, okay? That's how that goes. Where ajma'u, it has particular words that follow it also. And those words have to be understood. And we're gonna give you them right now. They come in akta'u. Or you say akta'u.
Akta'u.
That's one of them, akta'u, because it's three. Then we're going to have absa'u.
Absa'u.
Absa'u, I should say.
Absa'u.
And we have abta'u. 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 Okay? These are the three words that follow ajma'u. Okay? So, how many do we have there? But there's also amma. There's another word, amma tanas, like that. Amma, amma, That's another one that's used sometimes. But for the poem, they don't mention that one right there. So it says, an-nafsu wal-aynu wa kullun ajma'u. But when we see kullun, we have kila and we have kilta. Okay? Stop it, Hajar. And also we have, for ajma'u, we have the itwabi. Those things that follow ajma'u, which are akta'u wa absa'u wa abta'u. Okay? Now, this may be a lot of things right here for somebody just following this. I remember when I studied this, I said, whoa, what is this? Right here. What is that? Okay, and this basically, all three of these words mean ajma'u, jama'an, from the word juma'a, all of them. And it's just emphasis. All this is emphasis. Emphasizing the point. You'll see it as we play it out after we go through the poem, just so you can see how it's done. All it means is it leaves no doubt when you mention. If you said, all of my people, ajma'un, akta'un, absa'un, abta'un, that means every last single one of them, man, woman, and child. It leaves no doubt whatsoever that you mean every last single one of them. But if you say, all of them, all of my people, and you don't put the emphasis, that could be just general. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, all of them. Like we say all of them, but not every last single one of them, just most of them, right? But you want to emphasize? You say, ajma'un, wa absa'un, wa abta'. You don't even have to say wa. Abta'un, wa atba'un, wa absa'un. All of them, all of them, all of them. Every last single one of them. That's what you're saying in English. Every last single one of them. Every man, woman, child, and baby. So that's how that would go. So here in the poem we go. An-nafsu, say an-nafsu.
An-nafsu.
Wal-aynu.
Wal-aynu.
وكل
كل
أجمع
أجمع
وما
وما
لأجمع
أجمع
لديهم
لديهم
got that لديهم يتبع.
يتبع.
So this is the last part of it, and I'm going to start giving examples after this, so pay attention. Because it says, وَيَتْبَعُ الْمُؤَكَّدُ مُؤَكَّدَ التَّوْكِيدُ فِي رَفْعٍ وَنَصْبٍ ثُمَّ خَفْضٍ ينفعل فِي كذاك في التعريف فقف الأثر وهذه ألفاظه كما ترى النفس والعين وكل أجمع وما لأجمع لديهم يتبع. So here what we're saying here is that these are the letters. It says النفس والعين وكل أجمع. And then it says وما لأجمع. Now it's referring, and those things that are tied to أجمع, those three words I gave you before. What did I tell you? You said أبصعون أكتعون وأبصعون وأبتعون. Okay? Those three words, that's what he's referring to. لديهم يتبع, those words that follow أجمع. Okay? أجمعون أكتعون أبصعون أبتعون. Like that. So every man, woman, and child, every single one of them. Now, that's the whole poem as far as the rules are concerned. Now we're going to give examples of it. كجاء زيد نفسه يصول. كجاء زيد نفسه. Now we learn a rule now. The rule is this. When you use the word nafsu wal ayn, you have to attach to, or kullu, you have to attach to it who you're referring to. Okay? Nafsuhu. So if you say in the singular, you're saying Zayd. Zayd is a man. He's a singular man. So you have to put to him his damir. The damir, as we spoke to earlier, is he, her, I. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So if you say كجاء زيد. كجاء زيد نفسه. نفسه يصول. Okay? So yasulu here means that he arrived. He wasala. Okay? He arrived. Okay? He arrives. Okay? But who? Ka means like. Like, or it means for example. E.g. Okay? For example. Then it says, Ja'a Zaydun nafsuhu yasulu. Ja'a Zaydun. Did Zayd come? Zayd came himself. Zayd himself came. You see? Nafsu. We don't have to say an-nafsu, but the who refers back to Zayd. Nafsu is tawkeed. So it has dhamma because Zayd has dhamma. Okay?
Yes.
So kaja'a Zaydun nafsuhu yasulu. Okay? He arrived. That's how you use that in that case. You could have said kaja'a Zaydun aynuhu yasulu. You could have said that also. But you couldn't have said kaja'a Zaydun kulluhu. No. Zayd is one person, so you only use that kullun wa ajma to big groups. As Zayd being one person, you only use nafsu wal ayn. Kaja'a Zaydun nafsuhu yasulu wa inna. Say wa inna. Wa inna qawmi. كلهم كلهم عدول عدول. Okay? وإن قومي. Inna is a sign of nasbi and ta'keed. It means emphasis. When you use inna in front of a word, we know, inna wa akhawatiha, it has the ismu inna, and it's going to be mansubun, and khabaruhu is going to be what? Marfu'un. So here we say udulu, this is khabaru inna. But the ismu inna, remember you guys, we went over this? Inna wa akhawatiha, Tawba, who said she wasn't sleeping. So, inna qawmi, it says inna qawmi kullahum. You see, it says kullahum. Because now this is ta'keed, right? Kullahum, and whom refers to qawm, because it's dealing with ab'ad. It's dealing with parts, a portion, a group. So it says kullahum. Why is it ta'keed? Why does it have ta'keed? Because qawmi is actually in the place of ta'keed for inna. Ismu inna. So now kulla is also ismu inna. Ta'keed for ismu inna, for who also mansub. Right? So inna qawmi كلهم عدول. Here, and we have it right here, عدول, right there. So how we said we have that right there. كلهم أجمعين عدول, and you could go on like that. All right? So that's just one example. كجاء زيد نفسه يصول وإن قومي كلهم عدول. Could you get that for me, please? And so let me erase this board right here and get it knocked out. And the other one, so this is example we have of raf'un. This is an example of ta'keed in the raf'un. And this is an example of ta'keed in the what? Nasbun. Okay? So he's given his example of two of them. Now we're going to give another example. Hey. We're going to give another example of this in the khafdun. And we're going to give example, well, that's what we're going to do. Hey, you need to be quiet, baby girl. Yeah, be quiet. So, مكتبة اذهبي إلى مكتبة. So, كجاء زيد نفسه عدول يصول وإن قومي كلهم عدول. Example in the rafun with a nasbun. Now we're going to give an example of the khafdun, and we see the ta'rifuhu. Here we go with this example here. ومر ذا بالقوم أجمعين. ومر, say ومر. ومر ذا بالقوم أجمعين. أجمعين. Here is example. ومر ذا بالقوم أجمعين. Here we says ومر, and he passed, okay? He passed ذا. Who's that? That is the one who passed. So he is the fa'il, the actor of this ذا. بالقوم. مر ذا بالقوم. He passed by bil. So this is jar wa majrurun bil-kasra, right? So now ajma'in is ta'keed to bil-qawmi. Okay? So since he's ta'keed to something that is khafdi, then also the ta'keed would be what? Khafdi. Or in a khafdi, which is ajma'ina. Okay? And we could, so here we go. Marra da bil qawmi ajma'ina fahfaz. Say fahfaz. Be quiet, girls and guys. Mithalan. Hasanan mubinan. Hasanan mubinan. This ends the poem. ومر ذا بالقوم أجمعين فاحفظ مثالا حسنا مبينا. That's how the poem goes right there, which was to end it. Now, how do we use some of this? Again, if we use, for example, let me do like this. I know you hear that. Hey, listen, ma'am. Stop that thing right there. Don't just ignore it. Look. Here we have it right here. We have these words. You can use nafsu by itself. A nafs by itself. Okay? You can use ayn by itself. But if you're going to use them together, if you're going to use ayn and nafs, you have to use them together with nafs coming first and then ayn coming second. Okay? Likewise, you could use kullun by itself, and you could use ajma'u by itself. If you're going to use them together, kullum has to come first. Kulluhum ajma'in. Kullahum ajma'in or kulluhum ajma'un. Like that. Also, you could use ajma'u by itself. Right? You can use ajma'u by itself. But if you're not going to use it by itself and you're going to use this tawabi', اذهبوا إلى مكتبة الكتب. اذهبوا. If you're going to use them together, then you have to proceed with ajma'u, and then you bring the rest of them together. Okay? So you would say, after that, you would say, akta'u. Hey. You would say akta'una, and you would say absa'una. I'm sorry, this is sloppy right here. Hey, Haja, min fadlaki. Absa'u and أبتع. Okay, so for an example, you could say جاء القوم. Say that please.
جاء القوم
أجمعون.
أجمعون.
أجمعون. And you can stop. Or you could say جاء القوم أجمعون أكتعون أبصعون أبتعون. Bring them all together like that. Okay? So you can put this by itself, or you can say جاء القوم كلهم. Put a كلهم. كلهم. You have to put hum at the end of it, right? أجمعون أكتعون أبصعون أبتعون. That's emphasis. Okay? That's saying nobody was left. You know?
So those أكتعون أبصعون and أبتعون, they also can go with kullun?
No, but if they go with kull, they have to come after ajma'u. These cannot come except for after ajma'u. But ajma'u can come after kullun. Haja, uskoti. Right, you can, absa'una, abta'un. But really, I haven't heard anyone use these except for in Mauritania. In normal speech. Okay? Hey, Haja. Nobody have heard in all my years, I've never heard anyone use them except for in Mauritania. Okay? In all the lands of the Arabs in Tunisia, Morocco, and they hear them, they'll understand them, but they don't use them in their normal speech. But if you do read them, this is like we're covering everything, so you would have that. Okay? So, do you have the faith thing on it? Okay, well, أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لي ولكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.